Welcome back to Goldfoxwealth. Let's talk money. The whole thing begins with a jersey you cannot afford. You and Pavel are wandering a sporting goods store when a dad at the register pays for 3 official shirts for his kids. The number on the screen is almost offensive. He winces, the kids beam, and in that half second, you catch the whole gap between what people feel and what things cost. Pavel lowers his voice. We could make cheaper ones. The thought drops into you like a lit match into dry brush. Counterfeiting is not the plan. At least that is the version you narrate to yourself, and early on it even holds up. The goal is fan-inspired apparel, team colors, slogans, city names, the general charge of a tournament in the air. Nothing officially licensed, no real crest, no logo, no trophy anywhere on the fabric. Your cousin Aria, who designs for a living, tells you the border between inspired and illegal is about as wide as a thread. You agree, nod along, and then ask whether she could nudge the artwork to look just a bit more recognizable. The financing comes to $60,000. Some of it rides on a business line of credit. The rest on a personal card you had sworn would never touch inventory. The order? 10,000 shirts, 2,000 scarves, produced overseas on a rushed timeline. Almost immediately, the freight quotes creep upward. Your supplier explains apologetically that cotton has gotten dearer this month. Pavel tells you to relax, because at enough volume the math always works, which happens to be the exact phrase people say right before their first invoice from a storage unit. Then the shipment lands, and the apartment stops being an apartment. Boxes of shirts colonize the hallway. Scarves pile up behind the couch. The kitchen, of all places, smells like cardboard and ambition. Arya picks through the samples without saying anything for a while. One of the prints uses a phrase that sits far too near branding the tournament has locked down. Another rides on a silhouette that visibly unsettles her. You need a lawyer, she finally says. Pavel just grins and tells her lawyers are a thing you buy after you have already made the money. You open the online store 2 weeks out from the first match, and for a moment it genuinely lands. A quick clip of you taping up orders racks up 80,000 views. Buyers love paying less than the official store charges. A cafe owner messages about buying wholesale. Somewhere a carful of students orders a matching set to wear on a road trip. Each new sale pings like a little burst of applause, and for roughly 3 days, you are sure you have slipped through a side entrance the official merchandise machine never noticed. Then the good news stops. The platform yanks your top listing and flags it for an intellectual property review. Your payment processor freezes the incoming money, suspicious of how fast it is arriving. A guard at the venue informs you that selling anything inside the protected perimeter is simply not allowed, and the rights holder's law firm mails you a letter so impeccably polite that it reads as a threat. Nobody calls you a villain. They just want you to halt sales, hold on to your records, and put in writing that you will fall in line. The courtesy is somehow the worst part. Pavel, meanwhile, vanishes into pure optimism. Just rename everything, he says. Shuffle the artwork around. Move units at bars. Out of the trunk of a car. Quietly through friends. Arya's advice is the opposite. Get out now, before the whole venture turns into a warning other people study. You are wedged between the two of them like some guilt-ridden borrower out of a long Russian novel. Pride hauling you one direction and the consequences hauling you the other. So you rebuild the entire line. Different slogans. Blander, safer graphics. More of a wink, less of a resemblance to anything trademarked. But the tournament calendar could not care less about your sudden education in trademark law. Every day you burn on revisions is a day the demand keeps walking off without you. Designs that would have flown off the table in week 1 look tired by the time the knockout rounds start. A dark horse squad catches fire, and the stock you printed is stranded on nations that have already been knocked out. It turns out sports merchandise can go off faster than milk, the instant the scoreboard stops cooperating. You start cutting prices. Then you group things into bundles. Then you eat the shipping cost, which is really just bribing customers to overlook how badly you guessed the demand. The cafe owner backs out of half of what he ordered. The road trip students want their money back the moment their team crashes out. The apartment stays stuffed with product while the bank balance quietly drains. Pavel keeps insisting the next tournament is the one that pays off, and it dawns on you that he is in love with the idea, not the invoice. For the last weekend, you find a legitimate pop-up market, set up a safe distance from the stadium, and lay out a table. Business is gentle. One small boy takes home a scarf entirely because of its shade, indifferent to which nation it represents. His mom wonders aloud if these are your own designs, and you tell her yes, even if the true answer would take a while. Beside you, folding shirts in the heat, Arya lets a long silence run and then says the line that never leaves you. Demand is not the same as permission. That one line refuses to leave your head. There was real appetite for what you were selling. The wanting was never fake, but appetite alone was never the whole transaction. The words belong to the brands. The symbols belong to the events. The access belongs to the platforms. The cash flow belongs to the payment processors. The space belongs to the landlords. What belonged to you was inventory, and inventory is only worth anything on the days the surrounding world agrees to let you turn it into money. Months down the line, boxes are still standing around. A few of the shirts turn into gym clothes. A few get donated. The rest just wait in a storage unit like cotton ghosts of a lesson you ultimately finance at interest. You do not come out of it bitter. You come out of it precise. From now on, the sequence inverts. You clear the rights before anyone sketches a design. You nail down how it will actually reach buyers before you order a single unit. And you make sure the money can move before you ever chase a viral moment. What the World Cup really taught you is that hype can spin up an entire market in a single night. And it taught you something harder underneath that. Every market has gates, and most of the time the people holding the keys are not you. Thanks for watching. Please consider hitting like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Tell us in the comments what you'd like us to unpack next. See you in the next one.